My name is Ronnie Strickland. You may know me as Cuz. Now, I've been with Mossy Oak since the beginning. And yes, it's a great job, if you can call it a job. The best part, other than getting to hunt all the time and call it work, is the people. From Toxie Hayes, the founder, to everyone at Mossy Oak, and hunters in general, man, they just get it. It being the real reason we do this. It's not the big antlers or long beards or getting your limit every time. It's way more than that.
This island is full of nutrients and minerals and full of game, full of deer, full of turkeys, but it's also got a good bit of history that goes along with it. As early as the 1950s, there was 40 or 50 homes over here on the property with 2 or 3 major boat landings on the north side. Corps of Engineers did the Giles Island Cutoff in 1933, which separated it from the mainland in Mississippi. What makes Giles Island special to me? Well, first of all, I mean, the amount of game that's here. But the reason why they're here is the soil. The protein and the mineral content in this soil just naturally produces plants that have a high percentage of protein. We live with these deer year round, and we're out there every morning, every afternoon during the season, 12 cameras rolling, and the video camera is the best management tool in deer management that you can ask for, because we get to learn a lot of these deer from year to year and watch them progress, and we get a good idea of how old they are. And that's what we're shooting over here is age, and we're bringing these bucks to their maximum genetic potential. So it works for us, and where it may not work for other people because they don't have a chance to be in the woods as much as we are, but we have a huge advantage in that regard.
For us at Mossy Oak, it's all about relationships. When you form a good relationship with somebody, you know, it's something special. It's pretty cool. You know, the fact that year in and year out, you know, you can hook up and do your thing and make TV or just whatever it may be. For us, it's making TV and production department at Mossy Oak. And, you know, we've got a tremendous relationship with Giles. It's all about having good places to go and good places to take people hunting, and Giles definitely offers that to us.
Got in here early today. You never know what can happen, so we're gonna get set up here, sit down and get our bow up here and see what happens.
Been pretty fortunate and filmed quite a few bucks getting harvested at Giles on camera, and they're all good and memorable in their own way, but a couple that come to mind is, you know, kind of a couple of my favorite hunts was I was able to film a Major League Baseball player, Jake Peavy.
Buck here, buck coming here. Shooter buck coming here, shooter buck. Oh God. Behind that ball matter right there. He's coming right to us. I ain't got my stinking bow, man.
I don't know, it was around 2:30, 3 o'clock. And next thing you know, Jake's just getting his stand set up under me and I'm just getting the camera on. And he's not even hardly pulled his bow up yet. And I look over and I hear some limbs shaking in bushes, you know, making noise. And I look over and I see a buck rubbing, I think it was an old dead pecan limb that had fell out of a tree. It was just kind of dangling there. And he was just hitting it with his rack, you know, just like making a rub.
Inside the Obsession is brought to you by Ram Truck Brand, Precision Shooting Equipment, Lethal, and Mossy Oak.
I told him, I said, Jake, get ready, hurry up and get your bow. There's a nice 8-point right over there. And that deer, I started videoing him, he just walked perfect right down through there. It was rut, bucks were on their feet looking for does, you know. And he literally pulls up his bow, unhooks the string. Luckily, he already had his release on. He did that at the base of the tree while he was waiting on me to climb. And I'm filming the deer and he's watching him and he's, you know, getting his bow up, never even took his quiver off, grabbed an arrow and knocked it. The deer comes walking in front. I'm on him, he draws back.
Me? Are you kidding me?
You know, I had known Jake Peavy for like an hour and we just showed up on the island and the way that hunt happened and they're that quick, we had one down on video.
Looked like he come right down through here. We've been trailing him for about 75 yards now. We gave him till dark. I think we owe it to him and you'd never be too safe for this bow hunt, but we feel good. We got a good trail. Can't be too much farther up here. Let's go see if we can find him. There he is right there. How about that? Are you kidding me? Look at this deer. How about that? My goodness. Big 8-point. Oh, God. Look at this deer, man. Wow. What an evening. I tell you what, we came down here, got set up on this oak flat, these pecan trees, and it is January. And we have killed a buck in Giles Island, baby. It is on here. It's been a rut, and man, we've seen all kind of deer activity. And this, we finally got one in bow range and made it count. This is incredible. I'll tell you what, there's two things in life I love, and that's getting to throw a baseball in the summer and getting to bow hunt in the winter. And it doesn't come any better than over here at Giles Island with Jimmy Rowley and the boys.
We've been making TV at Giles Island for almost 12 years now, and there's a lot of hunts that stick in my mind that I videoed over Giles, but one of the ones I remember that was pretty cool was I was videoing this guy named Bill Atkins. He was from West Point, Mississippi, and he was a client over there at the time. And we've been struggling all week. It was a 3-day hunt and came down to the last hunt, and we got in these open hardwoods, and we were actually sitting in lawn chairs up by a big pecan tree, and hadn't seen anything all morning. And Jimmy will tell you, you know, it only takes one deer, you know, one big buck.
I think I'm gonna hit these horns for a minute and see what happens. There's a movement out there. Looks like a deer.
going.
We looked up and got a glimpse of a buck. He kind of went down behind a blown over pecan top, and we had some horns. It was that time of year where the bucks were responding, and we tickled horns just a little bit, and it just, I mean, split. Immediate reaction. He come barreling around this pecan bush, and I can still remember it. I mean, he was 20 inches wide, coming through these wide open hardwoods, and it looked like something out of, you know, Jurassic Park. He was just huge with no underbrush in the woods, and he was coming right to us. And you can imagine we're sitting in these lawn chairs with hardly nothing in front of us, and he's coming in looking for this fight. He gets in there like 60, 70 yards, and it's just air between us and him except for one tree, and he's stopped right behind it. And I can remember, you can just see his horns wrapped around this tree. And then at the time, he looked like he was 30 inches wide. And my heart was beating. I know Bill's was, and he's waiting for me to, you know, tell him to shoot.
Meh. He's down. He's down.
And the reaction on Bill's face was priceless. He was pumped. He just killed this big old deer on the last, it was probably the last 30 minutes of the hunt.
Wow, look at this deer. Wow. That sucker must be 19, 20 inches in spread. Chocolate horn deer. Man, I got a rush. 15 minutes left on Giles Island, and this deer shows up out of nowhere.
It just goes to show you on Giles Island, you just never know. There's been a lot of times you go three days out seeing a deer or 1-2 deers, and then last morning, bam, you know, there's a big 150-inch shooter.
Whew, unbelievable. What a hunt.
Giles Island is about 15 square miles of land that it actually is located in the middle of the Mississippi River most of the year, depending on the river stage. One side of the island is the main Mississippi River, and the other 3 sides is surrounded by what we call Old River, which is the old channel. And about half of the year it's totally surrounded by water. And this fluctuation in the river stage actually is what helps us produce the quality animal that we do produce. That the river will come up and it floods everything in the low ground, the Cuckleburr Fields and Willow Flats, and actually kills all the vegetation that's there. When it goes back down, then you have the river silt that is deposited from the muddy Mississippi, and that's just like fertilizer. And everything that grows up from that point is just lush and green. The deer love it. It's full of protein. All kind of weeds and vines and stuff grow down there. And then the river comes back up, kills it again. So it goes back down, and then it's all lush and fertile again. And it's moist, and it always has that moisture down there. So I think we have a huge advantage in that respect.
At Giles Island, you can do, you're allowed 2 bucks per hunt, you know, a management deer and a trophy deer. On that same trip, we had another great hunt with Jake. He switched to rifle. Jimmy said, hey man, you can go hunt your trophy. And so Jake decided to rifle hunt. And the very last morning we go in and kind of had a ground approach in an area that you could see really good. It was December, I think, maybe January. So it was really open, no greenery out, no foliage on the trees and stuff. And I look and I see some deer kind of out in the distance, you know, 150 plus yards out through the hardwoods. And we look and Jake rattles, just thinking I looked like a buck chasing doe. We weren't real sure, 2 or 3 deer just kind of running through the woods, and Jake rattles, and it wasn't long we looked and seen a deer kind of coming, and he stopped and he was facing us, and man, we both threw our binoculars up and looked and just saw big rack. Deer turned and ran and went down. And of course we were fired up, excited. You know, man, that's awesome. Just got your second one of the trip. And we both knew it was a nice deer, but we had no idea. We walked up to him, videoing the recovery, and Jake looked back at me and was like, holy cow, dude, this thing's huge.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? What a deer. Big 9-point. God, big old nasty looking joker. Man, he is huge.
Unbelievable deer. We had no idea he was that big, so that was another very memorable hunt for me at Giles.
Another hunt that I'll never forget was Clayton Brister. He was a client. Early bow season, I think it was the first week of October, and it was my first fall with Mossy Oak. So I was kind of new on the job, and it was my first hunt in a tree stand.
So you can see I was more nervous. I'm trying to get my release in my hole. Oh man, yeah.
Inside the Obsession is also brought to you by Remington Arms and Ammunition, Mossy Oak, Scott Archery, Schwacker Broadheads, and come here, deer.
Another hunt that I'll never forget was Clayton Brister. He was a client. Early bow season, I think it was the first week of October, and it was my first fall with Mossy Oak. From growing up in Natchez, Mississippi, I've always known about Giles Island. My first cousin, Jimmy Riley, he's been a manager over there. I was gonna say 1900s. That would be right. Late 1900s. Being from Natchez, Mississippi, I've known about Giles Island before Giles Island became commercial. First cousin, Jimmy Riley, was a manager over there before 1999 when they started selling hunts. And Jimmy came to me and asked me if I wanted to go over there and be a guide. I jumped all over it. So I've been going to Giles Island since 1999. In 2004, I got hired with Mossy Oak Productions and became a camera guy. So I was kind of new on the job, and it was my first hunt in a tree stand, you know, with the base and arm and getting up off the ground, and we were actually in climbers, so it makes it that much more difficult. But that time of year at Giles, it can be slow. You know, you're catching these deer coming to water, going to persimmons, kind of bed to feed type deal.
Squirrels over there playing. Look at them.
Man, it was hot. Mosquitoes were bad. They were buzzing around, and I think we saw a few does early. It was slow, it was getting late, and we kind of given up. And we just happened to look up, and out of nowhere, here comes this buck. I mean, big buck, coming through the hardwoods, trotting. And anybody who's been over at Giles early season will know that these deer, they call it the mosquito trot. What they're doing is they're running through the woods, getting away from these mosquitoes because they're so bad over there. And that's what he was doing. He was in the mosquito trot.
Meh. Go down, baby, go down. Go down, baby. That's it. Yeah, him, baby. That's a good one. That's a good one. Give me some of that.
He was gonna run right by our tree, headed to the water, and he got 20 yards and it was panic. I hit the record button. Of course, it takes 6 or 7 seconds for it to start recording, and by the time it started recording, he was bow range, and we mapped him 20 yards, and Clayton, by the time he saw the deer, all he had time was to pull back, shoot. We were like, what just happened?
That is
Look
him.
there.
Son,
He is a hoss. Look at all the kickers on him, man. Still in velvet.
full velvet.
Man, I've never killed nothing like that before. Rifle, bow, either one. He is a hoss.
He's a monster.
Well, see, how many's he got there, Jay? Count them up.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 point. I mean, a beauty.
He is a man. Look at that.
Absolute beauty. Well, let's get him out of here.
Okay, let me get my bow out of the way.
Once you get here, you know, everything's just like all the amenities of home. You know, we're gonna make sure you're comfortable, and we like to be comfortable too. And we pretty much live here for 4 years as a guide over here. And but you know, you've got good food and you've got nice lodging, but you're kind of secluded. All the supplies we bring over, you know, for the hunt are brought over by boat when the water's down, up like it is right now. When it's down, we can access by truck, but right now it's up a little bit. So all the food and everything that we eat comes over by boat, and it's a pretty unique place.